Have you ever been fixing a holiday meal and gotten a nasty burn trying to take the roast out of the oven? Well, I have, but I didn't drop the roast. With everyone ready to sit down for this nice meal, I had to take care of the burn quickly. The pain was severe, and there was this large blister beginning to form. Fortunately, I had learned about the healing magic of lavender, so I quickly grabbed my bottle, which I keep one handy, and applied a few drops, and the pain immediately subsided. I was able to carry the roast out to my family and enjoy the holiday meal instead of sitting there in pain during the meal. And worse yet, everyone having made a big deal about it and it sort of ruining a meal that I had hoped would be a wonderful day for everyone. Well, it was a wonderful day. And the blister, it disappeared totally. Hi, I'm Margaret Leslie. I'm a certified clinical aromatherapist and a Healing Touch spiritual ministry practitioner and instructor. I'm also the president of the Institute of Spiritual Healing and Aromatherapy. So I'd like to welcome you here today. I'm so glad to have you. And I'm sure you're going to be glad too as we cover some of the wonderful healing properties of lavender oil. You'll then have this amazing oil as part of your personal toolkit. You'll have it by your side and know how to use it. So all my life I've been in healing professions. First, I was a school psychologist for many years. Then I became a massage therapist as I was studying to be a healing touch practitioner. And eventually I became both a practitioner and instructor there. Then I became a practitioner and instructor in the Healing Touch Spiritual Ministry program. And it was while there that I learned about the amazing healing properties of lavender. In my first aromatherapy class, I learned about a French chemist named Gadafusset, who one day as he was in his lab studying the properties of a vat of lavender, something happened and he was severely burned on both hands. And he doused both hands down into that vat of the lavender oil. It was the closest thing to him. Well, he, like I, even though he was much more severely burned, were amazed at the healing that happened. So much so that he coined the term aromatherapy. In fact, he was even able to get French physicians to understand the therapeutic qualities of the oils. It actually became part of their educational programs in the medical schools. One could get a specialty area of aromatherapy. Through all this, he became known as the father of aromatherapy. So let's look at a little more about the oil lavender. Now, I'm sure many of you know about it being used for restful sleep. You certainly see it enough in ads and being advertised as a sleep aid through air fresheners and lotions, etc. Well, there's another side to lavender, one that's lesser known. A couple of friends of mine several years ago took a trip to Florida. And on that last day, they really wanted to get all they could out of their trip. And so they spent most of the day on the beach. Well, you know what that does. And at the end of the day, they were pretty severely burned and uncomfortable. And so they had been in these same aromatherapy classes as I, and so they knew about the use of it with sunburn. So they slathered it on their burns, and the pain stopped. In fact, they didn't even peel later. However, they also didn't sleep. They were wide awake, and they looked at each other and said, should we just go ahead and start back home? And they still thought they'd probably take a nap or sleep or get a hotel room on the way back. But trucking on up the road, they kept going, I'm still awake. Are you still awake? And they drove all the way back to Tennessee from Florida. So it seems that a little lavender oil helps you sleep, but a lot of lavender oil will keep you awake, wide awake. Please note. So something else that's important to note is when using lavender on a burn, make sure it's true lavender or Lavandula augustifolia and not the hybrid Lavandin. Why? Well, Lavandin is often sold as lavender because they look alike, they smell the same, but their chemistry certainly is different. Lavandin contains a ketone, camphor, which would actually make a burn even more. Now, lavender itself is a gentle and mild oil because it's made up of over 50% alcohols, and alcohols are known to be gentle. Lavender is also regarded as a safe oil, and gras, which means generally regarded as safe, even for children. So learning the chemistry of oils helps you understand how they work and why they work the way they do. So it's very important when you're working with anyone who wishes to use oils to understand the chemistry. Chemistry and safety are very much important topics. And in our aromatherapy classes, they are covered quite thoroughly. The Institute of Spiritual Healing and Aromatherapy offers a variety of classes, both online and in-person classes, even 3 levels of certification in aromatherapy. So I encourage you to visit our website, www.ishahealing.com, to find out more details about our classes. But right now, let's talk about lavender some more. Oils are being sold everywhere, in drugstores, department stores, of course, bath and shops, and even online. And I actually saw them in a truck stop one day. So how can you trust their quality? And quality is extremely important. So how can you tell the difference between a therapeutic and a recreational fragrance? Well, investigate. Get to know your source. Actually call the company and ask. Ask about their standards, their plants and how they're grown. Do they grow them or are they outsourced? And if they're outsourced, do they go there and check out how they're being raised? How are they processed? Do they actually know how to distill properly with each plant and get it tested to make sure the constituents are in the best proportions, or they're getting the best parts of the oils into their product? Those are good things to find out. Also, in talking to them, you'll get the feeling of whether they're interested in producing high quality oils or if they're just into making money. Now, my first aromatherapy teacher, instructor, said, when in doubt, use lavender. Lavender is traditionally known as a universal oil because it works wherever it's needed. It has an innate intelligence. Now, here are 6 of my favorite ways to use lavender oil. Number 1, as you can imagine, is burns. Number 2 is sleep. Number 3 is stretch marks and scars. 4, calming or easing tension or stress. 5, itches, bug bites, rashes. And 6, sore muscles. So how do I use lavender? Well, in a variety of ways. 1 is inhalation. It is aromatherapy. So I'll diffuse it, maybe in a diffuser, or putting it on a cotton ball or a tissue, or even a trick I learned with coffee filters. If you do them up into a little tent, you can put the oil right on the end and it'll act as a diffuser in the room. Now, for my clients with stress, I recommend the tissue or maybe an inhaler. They make little inhalers and you put some of the oil on the cotton piece in it and you have it with you. And just take an inhale anytime you happen to need it. For sleep, I often put it on a cotton ball, or if I don't have one handy, on a tissue on the edge of my pillow. I've even sometimes put it on the rim of my nightgown so I'll be able to inhale it all night, even when I turn over. This is not putting it on the nightgown, but putting it on the tissue or a cotton ball is a common practice in many hospitals or nursing homes or in hospice. It's really good to enhance the sleep of their clients, but also reduce stress, not only in the clients, but in the staff. So for my own mother, I would do the coffee filter and put a few drops on the tip in her room at the nursing home, because that would help calm her when she was stressed. The staff at the hospital, at the nursing home, she wasn't in the hospital, but in the nursing home, were amazed at how much it helped. Another use is topical, and the safest place is always on the soles of your feet. Now, I even know some little children who will say, "Mommy, I need my sleepy oil on my feet." Children are just excellent users of essential oils when they've been taught how to use them safely. They'll remind us, I need that oil now. Another safe topical use is to dilute the essential oil in a carrier oil. And it might be something like jojoba oil or coconut oil or almond, or even if what you have handy is olive oil on your shelf. Works well when putting it on your body, especially like on scars or sunburns, itches, even sore muscles. Now, after surgery on my arm to repair 2 broken bones, I used the lavender mixed with vitamin E oil to lessen the scarring. It works. Can you see? You don't see the scar. Undiluted, I must admit that when I've been burned, I immediately shake a couple of drops on the burn. Now, if it's a 3rd degree burn, it definitely requires medical attention. Another safe way is to use the oil in a spritzer. And this is good for spraying a room when there's a lot of stress. I use like a 2-ounce spritzer bottle filled with distilled water and a pinch of salt and 5 to 10 drops of the essential oil. Now be sure and shake it up good. You remember that oil and water don't mix, so the oil will float. Well, the salt helps it disperse better, but it's still good to shake it when you're using it. And then one other way is blended with another oil. But that's for another time and in a class, because that's more complicated. So let's look at all the ways I have used lavender. And you can see why it's called the universal oil. Just look at all these different ways. Skin issues, pain, stress, sleep. So these are just a few of the reasons you might use lavender oil. In fact, there are so many different uses, and also there's so many different oils that we provide the in-depth classes that give you so much more to enhance and improve your own life naturally. So I hope this has helped you find a new tool for your own personal self-care kit, or for the first aid kit for you and your family, or anybody that happens to be around when they need it. Again, thank you for joining me today, and it's been my pleasure to share with you the extraordinary value of lavender oil.